Yes, welcome back to Hot Topics. I'm Jeff Hajimai with Home Life, Miracle, and House of Trade, bringing you the most talked about real estate news stories of the week. We've got a very special guest here today. It's a friend, his mentor, real estate investor, real estate developer, Jude Botchway with Dreammaker Realty. Jude, thank you so much for being here, man. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
So we really wanted to get into talking about basically what it's like to invest or buy real estate in today's market. Jude has a lot of experience helping people buy real estate in all types of markets. He's been buying real estate since, I want to say, 2006, 2005?
Since I was 22.
22 years old. I don't even want to get into your age. But he's been helping people buy real estate for a long time. He's invested in a lot of real estate himself, and he has a good understanding of what the market's been like in the past, when it was a lot cooler and a lot easier barrier to entry to get in, versus now where markets have hit its peak. And it's a little more difficult to start buying assets and buying real estate. But he's got experience in both areas. We wanted to try and get a little more information out of him. And you know what? I guess let's get into it. So first, tell us how you got into the real estate industry. What brought you into real estate? Why did you choose real estate?
When I was very young, I met with an Asian guy. He was a friend of an older friend of mine.
Yeah.
And he told me very simple. It's like, there's three ways you can make real money. Is it through real estate, through the equity market, or through owning your own business? And at that time I was in university. So owning my own business was very risky. I didn't have the time to focus on it. The stock market, equity market is a lot scary. We all know that.
Volatile.
Very volatile. So I didn't have the heart for it at the time.
Yeah.
So real estate just seems so easy. And it just made sense. And luckily, a good friend of mine, Isaac, as you know, CEO of Dreammaker Corporation, he had gotten his license literally just after I had that conversation. And we were both working at UPS at the time.
Yeah.
So we bumped into each other. I've known Isaac since grade 5. And he said, "Yo, I got my license." I said, "No way." Like, "Okay, let's do this." He's like, "All right, perfect." And then we just started buying.
Nice. Did you get your license soon after that too, or?
No. I learned very early that I prefer investing than sales. I'm not a sales guy, right? I'm an investor. I would rather buy one property that make me $250,000 than sell 20 properties to make me $250,000.
Yeah.
It's a lot more work.
Yeah.
Right? So I've always liked investing. So I got my license a lot later.
Yeah.
But by the time I got my license, I owned quite a few properties myself.
Okay.
So my properties were cash flowing enough money that I actually didn't have to work at the time.
Yeah.
So that way I didn't feel pressured to sell to my clients. I always focused more on the investment side of things.
So you said you started when you were around 22 years old.
2020.
What year was that? So what year did you start buying real estate?
Bro, I don't remember, man. It was, I think, third year or second year university that I bought my first property.
How old are you now?
I'm 35.
13 years.
Yeah.
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 Okay. 2006 at least.
I think so. Whatever number that is. Yeah.
So 06, this is when I guess in the US the market was slowly starting to tank. Canada was more steady.
Yeah, Canada was slowly pacing at the time. That was before the US market went down.
Yeah.
So we actually started running after around 08 is when we started really running. Because around that time, real estate didn't fall off, but it was kind of cool.
Yeah.
We understood that when the market is down, that's when you become more aggressive.
Okay.
We understood that very early, right? So around 08 is when we started buying a lot of pre-constructions, because we realized that we can buy a property, we don't need to get a mortgage now, and we can pay in pieces.
Yeah.
That's perfect. So we just looking at projects. I mean, at the time there were many projects.
Yeah.
Literally every week or two there's a project coming. So we would just literally, I will pick up the condo guide, I'll look at every project, I'll send it to Isaac. We'll be up till 4 a.m. just going through every project.
Just crunching the numbers.
Crunching numbers,
Makes sense.
everything, why would this make sense? When we have time, we'll go around the neighborhood, we'll check the area, see what's happening, we'll sneak into developments, see the floor plans. We did a lot of work back then. Yeah, Isaac would sleep actually at condo lineups till the next day. So we'll be like number 1 in line.
For the VIP events.
Yeah, man.
Jeez.
Yeah, we done that. Even for NXT, I remember Chris staying there overnight, me coming there around 4 in the morning, Isaac coming later on, connecting, and we were in line, and we did a bunch of deals.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where we started.
So back then, 2006, barrier to entry for real estate is much easier than it is now.
And they were doing 0% deposits, cashback deals. Yeah, they were fun days, man. I miss those days.
Yeah, I think a lot of people miss those days.
Oh, they didn't even know those days existed. I missed a lot of opportunities back then. But that time you had to be brave in order to enter the market. Real estate wasn't as cool back then.
Yeah.
Right now everybody wants to own real estate.
Well, you got everything on HGTV showing you can do this with real estate and this.
Yeah. Back then it wasn't as popular, right? So you had to have a lot of them. You had to have a lot of courage to enter the market back then.
Okay.
And we did that, and it paid off. Market's always changing. I think people are naturally slow. I don't want to say that in an insulting manner. I mean that, to be an investor, you always have to anticipate what's coming. Mm-hmm. And I think people are always busy dealing with what's happening now instead of anticipating what's happening next. Yeah. So as an investor, we're always, if you look at my group chat with Isaac and a few other of my guys, we're always anticipating what's next. Mm-hmm. We're anticipating, what the next move is, whether the market is going down, whether it's going up, whether it's going sideways. Okay, well, in this specific moment, where's the opportunity?
Yeah.
Is it in pre-construction? Is it in resale? Is it in homes? Is it in condo? Is it buying studios, actually? Mm-hmm. We even go as detailed as what specific floor plan to buy. Because there are times where 2 years ago, 3-bedroom condos were the buy. Yeah. Because the gap between 3-bedroom and 2-bedroom downtown was actually very minimal. So we knew that 3-bedrooms were going to be worth over $1 million. Mm-hmm. So, my condo activated baths, I paid $630 for it.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and that's a 3-bedroom activated bath.
Yeah.
Right. And,
what's that renting out for now?
Oh, right now it's fully furnished. I could probably get about $6,000 a month for it. Yeah, no, that's rental's not a joke. Yeah. So we go as detailed as that. There were a time where studios were worth that. About 4 years ago, studios were going downtown for $200K. Mm-hmm. Right now you can get studios downtown for mid-3s, 4s, depending on the location. Yeah. So that's $200,000, $250,000 gap right there in 4 years. Wow. Right? There are times where houses were worth it. Let's say even like last year when the stress test was done. Yeah. I told everybody, and we told a lot of people, look for pre-construction buyers who can get mortgages. Mm-hmm. And some of my clients did that, and they literally they wrote themselves checks. Right? So we always anticipating what's next. And I think a lot of people don't do that, and that's where the problem is. Okay. Yeah.
So you mentioned the mortgage stress test. Yeah. I know that's one thing that's adding a bigger barrier for people trying to get into the market. Yeah. Like housing prices is one thing. Yeah. But something like that's taking off some of your affordability. Mm-hmm. Also makes it difficult to try and get into the market. So you work with a lot of clients, people that are here, mm-hmm. international clients. Mm-hmm. How are people getting into the market now? How much some of your clientele getting into the market?
It's unfortunate for some of these clients because what they did was simply what you did. They kept saving. Yeah. Right? And now they realize that the market has moved a lot further than their savings.
Yeah, that strategy is a little harder to.
Yeah, it doesn't work unless you're a bit more aggressive. So unfortunately for a lot of them, they had to go to locations that they did not want to be, mm-hmm. or it wasn't their first choice. Not that they didn't want to be, but it wasn't their first choice. Yeah. And they have to buy at prices that, let's say 2 years ago, they would have been able to do 800, now they're doing 600. Yeah. Right? And that changes their dreams, it changes what they really wanted. But for me, I've always believed that there's a deal in any market, mm-hmm. no matter what. You can go to New York, you can go to Singapore, you can go to San Fran, and I'm 100% sure there's somebody out there finding deals right now. Yeah, definitely. So even though there's a stress test issue, even though the lenders are being a little tight, if you're patient, if you look hard enough, you will find a deal. Markets are always changing, always. Especially in the Toronto, the GTA market, literally every 6 months, there's always something happening, right? So whether the condos are getting too expensive, the houses are getting too expensive, the market is coming down, something's always happening. Yeah. So with those type of clients, you know me, I'm all about education, right? I like to sit people down, I like to explain things to them, I like to have them ask me every question they can so they understand. Because I find that the more educated a client is, the less work I actually have to do, right? Sure. So I spend time educating them. That's what's happening in the market right now. This is what I do see. Sometimes I even will take a whole month out just to educate the client before we even start really searching.
Okay.
So at least that way they understand why at this particular moment you're not buying a property for a year. You're actually buying a property for 5 to 10 years, and the reason behind it, right? Because if they're going to think, okay, I'm here to buy a property and flip it within a year, and they buy the wrong property, the consequences are pretty heavy.
Yeah.
People keep forgetting about consequences.
And it's almost, they won't take the blame. They're going to come back to...
Exactly. And they're going to blame you, right? And you don't want to be the person who misleads people, right? You want to make sure they're educated. You want to make sure they own the decision. You want to make sure they're guided properly. And that's what I focus on at the moment with clients. Let them know, okay, markets have changed. This is what you're buying today. This is what your options are. And this is what I think you need to do in order to get the results you're trying to get. And then if they're on there and if they agree, then we'll walk the same path. If they're not and they think I'm not the right guy for them, then it's okay. Somebody is conservative. Life goes on. It's not that serious.
What advice, so leaving people with some advice, what advice would you give people that are looking to maybe get into their first investments in the GTA markets? What would you tell them to pay attention to? What should they be looking forward to do?
Right now, what I suggest to people is be patient.
Yeah.
I don't mean like sit around and don't do nothing, but be patient as in take time to learn what's happening in the market. Take time to go to projects, take time to go to open houses, take time to speak to other agents as well, you know, and I invite people to do that. So at least you understand the trends, you understand the reason why things, you know, my dad always make the same example, and I've said it many times, you know, he gave me an example when I was younger, he said, listen, if somebody gave you a brick of gold and it said to lift that gold, you know, and you didn't understand that was gold, you'd be pissed off because it's heavy. Yeah. Right? And you leave it. But if you understood that thing was gold and it was worth $1 million, trust me, you're lifting that thing. Yeah. Right? It's the same concept. If I tell you, hey, this 1-bedroom condo downtown is $600K, $500K, to you it's expensive. But if I tell you, in 10 years I can possibly see this thing going to $800,000. If you furnish it, I can see you doing a cash flow of $500 a month. You know, you can take a second mortgage against that property and you can use that for your other investments. You can leverage that asset. And if I show you all these things to do that property, then they become more value for that property. Right? That's why I'm saying education for me is a lot more important.
Take the time to understand
what it is. It's not just a brick on the floor that's very heavy. It's actually a piece of gold. Yeah. Right? And I think people learn that system and that concept of value and an asset, they will be more patient in finding the right asset, and they will build the right team to help them find that asset. Makes sense. I think that's the way to go.
Very good advice.
And for right now, you know, yes, things are expensive, but Toronto is still a pretty undervalued city, you know, when compared to other major cities, and we still have a long way to go. There are going to be hiccups along the way. Yeah. That's in every market. Every market has a cycle. But within those hiccups, that's where opportunities come. So you look for those and you'll be fine.
I think as we start to even build more and more transit and become more connected, whatever real estate's around that transit just becomes more valuable.
Yeah, because if you look as a whole, you know, downtown's expensive. And then around the transit used to be cheaper. Yeah. And now the most affordable place right now is around the transit, right? So over time, those two are going to be they're not going to be affordable. Yeah. They kind of are not to most people now, but they're still affordable to majority right now. So that will change too, right? So as these things change, what's next? And you have to be able to anticipate what's next, right? And that's the focus we give people, I give people. That way they understand what you're doing.